Assalamu alaikum, peeps. If there are any people out there who have even an atom's weight of faith in Christian Prince, boy, do I have a try not to laugh challenge for you. Today, Christian Prince is going to try to prove to us that Islam endorses worship toward the moon god, but not by plagiarizing Robert Morey's research and passing it off as his own. No, he's going to break down the Arabic. And, as we all know, when a scholar of the Arabic like CP talks about anything, all must scram in fear.
Allah is not the name of the God of Islam. That is a joke. If you go in chapter 1 in the Quran, chapter 1, just from the first chapter, you will see the following. I want you to look with me in the screen, please.
Okay, I will do that.
All right.
No problem.
Chapter 1 in the Quran. You will see here it says, and I will show you the Arabic because I want to show you the Arabic change. If we read together here, you will see it says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Yeah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman. You will notice here there's an alif, right? This is an alif.
Yes.
I will write it in the top. But if you look at the Allah in the second word, there's no alif. You see, there's no alif here. Here is missing, correct? Here is missing.
Yes.
All right. Why?
Oh, I would tell you why right now, but I want everyone to bear witness to your tinfoil hat theory first, just so we can all marvel at your genius.
Because simply, it is not part of the name. So what happened? Alhamdulillah. Let us divide the word lillah. Alhamdulillah. Li in Arabic mean two. Lillah. That is the name of the God of Islam. Li mean two. Lah is the name of the God. Lah is the moon god.
Everybody got that? Good. Now I'm going to give you guys a chance to pause the video to get all your laughter out so we can focus, because I know you all failed the try not to laugh challenge. Don't tell me you didn't. Lying is haram. You good? Okay, let's go. There are so many things wrong with this argument that I'm starting to question if CP is even an Arab at all. First off, I have no idea why CP wants us to focus on Lillah to prove the name of the God of Islam when both words are used all over the Quran. Hell, they're both used right here. Does he seriously think that this is the only form of the name in the entire book? Does he think that all these other times Allah is mentioned, it's talking about someone else? Of course, he will ignore this when talking about those sources because it just isn't convenient. I'm going to dig into the nonsense behind this logic in a bit, but let's play with him for a bit and assume it is. Why is the word not written with an alif? Well, CP, being a scholar, should already know the answer to that.
Because simply, it is not part of the name.
No, I mean the correct answer. The word li is a harful jar. Just like bi, when it enters upon a word that begins with an alif, the alif is omitted in writing, and the word becomes majroor. This is done mostly for ease of pronunciation, so it is wrong to say li ibnin instead of libnin, or bi ismin instead of bismin. Funny how I should even have to say that, since CP shows an example of that at the beginning with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Second CP, it isn't pronounced lillah, it's pronounced lillah. And the reason for that is because the words that the word Allah is contracted from are the letters alif lam, making al, and ilah with an alif. So the result wouldn't be li followed by la. The root word there would be ilah, which means God, not la. Funny I should even have to tell him that, since he already knows.
If Allah is a word meaning God, then the Muslim in the Shahada, when they became Muslims, you have to say, okay, instead of saying there's no God but Allah, then why you don't say there's no Allah but Allah? If Allah just a word meaning God, they don't do that because Allah is the word which is a name. So they say no God, la ilah, that is the word for generic God, ilah, illa Allah.
Nice, CP. Just forget your own freaking standards when they don't suit your new standards. You know what la means? It's not a name, CP. It's not even an ism. It's a harful jar followed by a pronoun. It literally means belonging to him, which is why it's sometimes translated as for him or to him. And you think that's a name for some reason. And since CP acknowledged that li means two, it can also just mean four, it just denotes possession, he believes that there are two twos here. Yes, you heard it correctly, folks. According to Christian Prince, the God of Islam is called to him. Or, if we go off of his translation of La, which apparently is the name of the moon god, then the name of God would actually still just be to moon. I can only imagine how many juicy memes people are going to make out of this. No complaints, CP. You brought this on yourself. Now think about this. The word ilah already has a lam, and the word el has a lam. CP, thinking that this was a compound word and not a contraction, took one look at it and split it in two. Just like someone would do with the word popcorn. You take out pop, you get corn. Two different words. CP thinks that if you take out the letters that give you li, you get la. Now, he was right that the word li takes one lam out, but he's missing a lam from the aleph and lam in the word Allah. Good luck convincing him of that, since he thinks that the missing aleph is proof of a different word altogether. But it doesn't matter. Even if the aleph was really missing, we would still be dealing with 3 lambs. Yet he mysteriously only gives us 2 of them. And he knows what he's doing, because even if we grant that the aleph which is omitted in writing plays no factor here, we're still dealing with another lamb, since that lamb was connected to the aleph, which apparently, according to CP, has been deleted from the word. Even without the aleph, there's still a lamb here. Unless Christian Prince has the brain of a Christian Prince fan, I'm calling a spade a spade. This guy is straight up lying.
Allah is al, which is a word equal in the old ancient Hebrew and Aramaic to the word God. So when you say Allah, you are saying God lah.
Now, my favorite part. I know it came up at the beginning, but I wanted to save it for last, because it's the dumbest point he made. Remember, boys and non-males, ilah means God in the indefinite form. And despite the reaching so far, he's fully aware that the word Allah is derived from that. CP has read enough Arabic to know that lahu means belonging to him, so for some reason here, he thinks that el means God, just because El is the root of God or deity in Hebrew and Aramaic. You know, those 2 different languages. However, CP, I have a surprise for you, my friend. You'll discover this the moment you open up any book on Durusul Lugha and go to the beginning. The alif and lam, when coming at the beginning of a word, makes the word ma'arifa, definite, and it loses the double tanween it had before and simply takes one dhamma. Let me spell it out for you all. In Arabic, al literally means, drum roll please, the. That's right. CP took what is literally the most basic teaching in the Arabic language, the first thing they teach you before allowing you to move on any further, and turned it into the word for God. This is quite easily the most devastating self-defeat I've ever seen. And by the way, he should know this, since he's read it so often. Al doesn't mean God, just because it sounds similar to something in Hebrew and Aramaic. The Hebrew word for God, or a God, would be
Allah.
Oh no, CP, did you hear that la sound at the end? Does that mean that the name for God in Hebrew is the moon god? Jinkies!
You can go right now and search in Google and you will find that La is the name of the moon god.
Ah boy, so I tried really freaking hard to find a source for this. I looked up La, I looked up Ilah, I even tried looking it up in Arabic to see what I got. Every search result on any Arabic lexical website gives me the harful jar and the pronoun making lahu, or la if you don't want to pronounce the dhamma on the last letter, meaning belonging to him. I was completely unsuccessful in finding where in the world he pulled this argument from. I even went to Wikipedia to see if I can find lists of moon deities throughout history through different religions and cultures, and see where the primary sources led me. La and ilah never came up. Eventually, I got a source from brother Al-Andalusi on Discord. The only source for a lunar deity even close to being named La is in ancient Egyptian and Coptic religions and idol worship. However, if you take the time to take a closer look, you'll notice something interesting. This is not La. This is actually Iya with a capital I. Now, since CP doesn't exactly have good English,
yep, you should respect the dead. I mean, let them rest in peace.
I'm not respecting him. This guy, obviously, he is. I'm not talking about your dad. What's your dad?
I can actually see how he made this error. You see, sometimes with the varying English fonts people use, it can be hard to tell if you're looking at a lowercase l or an uppercase I. Sometimes the only difference between the two is that one is slightly shorter than the other. It happens to the best of us, so obviously it'll happen to the worst of us. If that were it, I would be willing to let it go. CP made a goof up, and that's about the end of it. But that's not all this source has to offer. The source specifies that it is found in ancient Egyptian and Coptic religions and cultures. It has absolutely nothing to do with Arabia. Yes, a different religion with different beliefs and different languages, all of which were completely disconnected from Islam until a few decades later when Islam, which was already established at the time, had later moved into the land. CP just flapped his lips telling us, "You can search on Google and find Leh as the moon god," hoping no one would actually bother to do it, and instead just take his word for it. Let me make this even clearer. Not only does Leh not mean moon deity, not only is that not how the sentence structure works, but to put icing on the icing on the icing of the cake, Leh isn't the name of the unrelated evidence he's appealing to. Leh, the moon god, doesn't exist. Not just in Arabia, but anywhere. Sorry, CP, you just lost at your own game. You're outgunned and outmanned. Get wrecked.
Li mean two. Lah is the name of the god. Lah is the moon god. So it is not Allah, it is Lah.
This is what really confuses me about all of this. If, according to CP, Lillah has no Aleph and Lam in its construction, then how could it possibly be referring to the moon god? By his logic, it actually just means to moon. So then, according to this argument, this is just saying that the praise belongs to moon. And whenever we see Allah, it means moon god. He could have applied this nonsense argument to any time the word Allah is used, but he chose Lillah for some reason. Also, in order for Allah to mean God Moon, i.e. a title for the moon god, not only do you require Aleph and Lam in here, which again, CP thinks isn't here in the word Lillah, but you also require that the word La means moon, i.e. God Moon. Not the word God, then name of the moon god, no. You need the word God and then the word moon. But moon in Arabic is qamar, not la. So no matter how you try and save this argument, it falls flat on its face and it's embarrassing. And even if we're to accept that, is he seriously saying that the only time Allah is identified as the moon god is when you see the word Allah, i.e. God, moon? If that's the case, then why did he even bother deconstructing the word lillah? The more I think about this argument, the more my brain blasts. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Listen, Aleph and Lam is literally the first thing they teach you in Arabic. CP has changed it from meaning the to meaning God. Keep that in mind the next time he flexes his Arabic skills to read any text containing the definite article. Be sure to tell him that he's going against the moon god narrative. I would binge watch that to see how he tries his best to evade embarrassment.
The Muslim, they say to us that Allah is not the moon god, correct? And even there is some Christian, they say, who they are naive, they say how the Quran say that don't worship the moon and he is the Lord of the moon and the sun, and then you say he is the moon god. Let me show you how we can prove that wrong.
Okay.
In the Quran, we will know that there is something, it's called Al-Lat and Al-Uzza. Okay.
After Al-Lat and Al-Uzza and this moon thing, can I ask you about Yunus 10 word Alif Lam Ra?
No problem. Hold on. Let us focus on one thing at a time.
No, CP, that's a big freaking deal. You just changed the most fundamental aspect of the Arabic language to support this argument. I demand that you stop and explain yourself.
So, when we speak about Al-Lat wal-Uzza wa Manat al-Thalithah al-Ukhra, we notice that Al-Lat, who are the Al-Lat or Al-Uzza?
The daughters of pagan goddess.
Okay, daughter of who? Daughter of Allah. Okay, why the Arab they thought Allah have a daughters?
Because they associated nonsense with the one true God. Does CP actually think that we as Muslims are binded to the beliefs of the pagans? Are you for real?
Because they learned it from pagan tribes.
But how he have the daughters? The Arab they believe that Allah is the moon god who married from the sun god, and they have 3 daughters.
Oh my, citation needed. You're probably pulling all this from some anime wiki page. Keep these film theories coming, CP. You're the next Alex Jones. America needs to stop sending funds to the Saudis so that the Muslims don't fill the Red Sea with their Zemzem water and make the frogs gay.
So when somebody says to us that this is not the moon god, then he have to explain to us how Allah he got the 3 daughters, which is from the marriage of the god of the sun and the god of the moon.
Yes, of course. We, the monotheists, have to explain why pagans believe pagan things if we want to justify monotheism. Hey, what's going on, Stupid Abdul? Okay. So you Muslims believe the Quran's been perfectly preserved, huh? Yeah. How could you believe that when the Quran endorses worship to the moon god because the pagans worship the moon god? I don't see how that's relevant, but Islam is not based on the bid'ah of the pagans. Don't change the subject, Abdul. Listen to my beautiful singing voice. Count to 6 if you're still with me. Number 5, An-Nasa'i. Number 2, Sahih Muslim. Number 1, Musnad Imam Murrah. Yeah, he's fine. Number 6, Musnad Imam Ahmed.
It's the Quran confirming that by calling Allah that He is the father of Manat and Allat and Al-Uzza, they confirm to us that the Arab was worshipping the Lah God, which is the moon god, which is married. He married from the sun god, and they have 3 daughters, Manat and Al-Uzza and Allat.
Okay, that nonsense isn't found in Robert Morey's overly debunked research on the matter, so I have no clue where he pulled that from. Even if it was true, it wouldn't mean that Allah is the moon god. It would just mean that the pagans of Arabia made up the idea that one of Allah's children was the moon god. Duh! I mean, try and think about how this even fits into your narrative for once. Even if we were to accept the pre-Islamic idea that Allah mated with someone and had 3 kids, it wouldn't logically follow that he must be the moon god to do that. Learn your pagan lore.
Manat is the god of death. And this is why the name it come differently. If you notice with me in Al-Uzza, you will notice something. I just taught you something about Allah, that the name starts with Al, correct? Okay, here those are gods, right? Al-Uzza is God and Allat is a god, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is why it says Al-Lat, God Lat. Al-Uzza, God Uzza. All right.
What about Manat, huh? Why the Quran no say Al-Manat, eh?
So this is confirmed even in the Quran that Allah is the moon god. Otherwise, how Allah he got the 3 daughters of the god of the moon god?
Why are you using the Quran to prove this point when the Quran says not to worship either of those things? You still haven't addressed that issue. Now, CP, just to really hammer away this nonsense you're preaching, I would like to turn your attention to the 23rd verse of the very chapter you're reading from. They are but names which you have named, you and your fathers, for which Allah has sent down no authority. They follow but a guess and that which they themselves desire, whereas there has surely come to them the guidance from their Lord. So here Allah is explicitly denouncing these idols and their names. They're nothing but names you people made up. And here you are trying to make it sound as though, oh, the Quran mentions them, so we must believe in them. And we must believe, according to Islamic creed, that they are the children of Allah. For some reason, I can't believe I'm freaking doing this. I want all my viewers to keep something square in mind as of right now, since I know that some of you are probably going to go on about how we need people who are basically mini scholars to combat claims like this that Christian Prince makes. But we really don't. There is nothing I talked about in this video which is high level. All of it can be learned from a few chapters of Durusul Lugha and a few lessons of Tajweed in the Qaida book. Don't give CP any credit here by thinking that he twisted some really high-level material in order to make this argument. What he did here was nothing short of preschool-level comedy. Now, this is a sincere message to any of his fans watching this. Can you honestly continue listening to someone like this after seeing them drop the ball so frequently? CP is either hopelessly incompetent or a terrible liar, but regardless of that, one thing remains the same. Christian Prince is clearly not doing what he's doing to try and show anyone the truth. He sets out with a goal in mind, being to disprove Islam, and so no amount of logic or reasoning will sway him from that goal once his mind has been made up. He'll either allow his ignorance to cloud his judgment, or he'll lie about it. Or, you know, silence people who get them busted.
My friend, they mujadilun, you stupid. Abdul, just don't call me again. Let your parents call me. You stupid.
Can you trust someone like that? Take this moment to reconsider your entire time listening to him and anyone else like him. Otherwise, you might end up just like him. I'm gonna sign off. Anything else you want to say in your defense, CP?
I am a donkey. You are a scholar.
I agree. Assalamu alaikum, peeps.
Two Muslims speak and attack in the Bible. We don't want to do that.